we start, I would like, on behalf of the whole group, to thank you all for this opportunity. Simonetta Lingua is here. She's not Anna Maria Cadra, she's sitting over there. we changed that.
The person.
Okay, no problem. But we are all together, and the work we are presenting now is what we did together in Italy before we came here. So very quickly, because we prepared kind of slides which try to answer the questions we were given. So and they were also thought to be kind of material we can leave behind us, and so we won't go through them completely, but we just try to give you a general idea about the system we have in Italy. But let me just start from the two articles taken from our constitution, because the whole system lies on these two very important articles which illustrate the values of our school. So in our country, all citizens have equal social dignity and are equal before the law, without distinction of sex, race, language, religion, political opinion, personal and social conditions. It is task of the Republic to remove economical and social obstacles which, limiting the liberty and equality among citizens, actually impede the complete personal development and the person's real participation of the political, economical and social life of the country. This article has affected the making of the schools in our country. So when we introduced the two schools which participate here to this visit, you will see that the background takes into consideration exactly what this article contains. So schools are also open to everyone. Primary education, which is imparted for at least 8 years, is compulsory and free. Capable and deserving pupils, including those without adequate finances, have the right to attain the highest levels of education. The Republic renders this right effective through scholarships, allowances to families, and other benefits which shall be assigned through competitive examinations. As you probably know, in Italian schools, also students with special education needs are present in regular classes. We do not have special schools. And so this is why we introduced this presentation with the two articles. The education system is organized according to the principles of subsidiarity and autonomy of institutions. That means that schools are autonomous for most of their activities. We'll try to illustrate this part too. The state has exclusive legislative competencies, so that means that the state gives the general rules for education, but schools are fairly enough autonomous to decide quite a lot of aspects of school life. So the principle of inclusion applies to pupils with disabilities. So we have disabled pupils into classes, and also pupils from disadvantaged background for social and economic reasons, and also quite a high number of pupils who come from other countries. We also have private schools, of course, and they are divided into two categories that you can see there, but they all belong to the same system. What can schools decide? They can define curricula, widen the educational offer, organize teaching school time and groups of pupils, draw up the educational offer plan, define internal regulations, and share with families the common responsibilities on education and pupils' behavior. This can be probably obvious for some other countries, but this change occurred just 18 years ago, when autonomy was introduced in our system. Before then, all Italian schools had precise laws and regulations to follow, and they couldn't decide on their own about curriculum or extra time activities and so on. So education is, schools are divided into early childhood education from 0 to 3 year old, pupils from 0 to 3 years old, pre-primary school from 3 to 6 years old, primary school, which is compulsory. Early childhood and pre-primary schools are not compulsory in Italy, so family can decide not to send their children to pre-primary schools, but they have to. All children have to attend primary school when they are 6. Lower secondary education, so what it was called middle school in the past, and upper secondary school from 14 to 19. Compulsory education starts when children are 6. So we have very large schools, as you can see from these features. So when we the photographs of your schools before, I was quite impressed, because we have schools, and this is the average, with 1,000 students, 500 students for each school located in little islands. But when we talk about schools in metropolitan areas, we speak about 1,000 schools with 1,000 students. Of course, they are not in the same buildings. We have different buildings, but the whole school is ruled by one principal. So pre-primary class have from 18 to 26 pupils in a class, sometimes up to 29 when classrooms are large enough to contain such numbers. And in primary schools we have classes from 15 to 26 pupils, and more or less the same in the middle school. We brought here some features taken from our area, Turin's area. Torino is in the northwest of Italy. It's quite a large town, nearly 1 million people, considering the whole area around the town also. And the features taken from Torino are compared to features belonging to Piedmont, the region where Torino lies. So you can see the average number of students for each class here, divided into pre-primary, primary school, middle school, and high school there. So we don't have more than 22 pupils per class. Okay, we also have a long history for our system, and what we call co-education, the presence of 2 teachers in the same class, was started in the 50s. Also we have mixed classes where boys and girls are together. Okay, so we are now going to introduce the 2 schools whose features are going to present. But Simonetta wanted to say something before.
Yeah, only 2 words, because the 2 schools that we appreciate to the active school flag are involved in a process, in a long process, and the two schools were involved this year in an action research group with a coach, and the coach makes they able to select a policy, maybe a policy of physical activity, using the self-evaluation methods and instruments that you show us. We translated and adapted in Italian these instruments, and the two teachers that they use this instrument in their school, maybe on September can be choose what part of active school flag they can use and implement in their school, because they make this self-evaluation. And the two schools are involved too in health promoting school, because we are a regional network of school for health in Europe, and so they are part of this network. And this opportunity to use active school flag is for the schools build a framework in which they can use the physical activity better.
The two schools we are presenting are in the same area around Turin. So one is not far from the center, but this first one is in Moncaglieri, which is a small village in the outskirts of Torino. And there are pupils from 3 to 14 years old, so a large population of students. Only one principal, and as you can see, there are 4 nursery schools, which means that they are divided into 4 different buildings, plus 4 primary schools and 2 secondary schools. So in total we have 10 buildings, and they all are part of the same school, which is quite a hard job for teachers and principal to deal with. So just a little information about the context. The population is quite mixed there, because it's an area where you can find people from middle classes, quite well-off people, but there are also families with problems in both for jobs and education. So it's a mixed area, quite challenging. There is also a good percentage of foreign students. There are about 20% of the whole population of the school, and 10% of them come from Romania. We have a large community from Romania in Turin. It's the largest one. And as I said before, also students with special education needs are in regular classes, and these students live together and attend all together all the classes, all the lessons. The town council offers some facilities, some services, as you can see there. And what do they do? They have 2 hours per week for physical education, and with a specialized teacher in the middle school. But in Italy we do not have trained teachers for physical education in primary schools, the same as here. Okay, but we do have them in secondary school. the resources, the strengths of the premises have equipped gyms and outdoor areas, so children can actually have a lot of activities. But we also have quite a few problems. The teacher of physical education are not provided for the primary school, and this is something Italian teachers have been asking for a long time, to have specialized teachers. So it will be very interesting to see tomorrow how it works here without them, because that's what we are asked to do. Okay.
Just one.
See.
Here there is a physical activity teacher, Susanna, from the schools.
There she is.
In Moncalieri. So.
Great. Yes, so she teaches in the middle school.
Yeah.
So the second school is Rita Levi Montalcini, who was awarded of a Nobel Prize, so that's why the school is called after her. Yes, so the second school is very near to the center of the town, and as I said before, it's quite different from the first one because of the families. Most of them come from middle classes, are quite, the context is quite quiet, and parents are very active in the school. You can see there some general features about the different buildings which belong to the same school. There are 170 children for the pre-primary school, 700 pupils from the primary, and 300 students for the middle school. Here again, we have only one principal who rules the whole thing. So as I said, the school is based in the historic district Città di Torino. The area has undergone a complete urban and social transformation. It used to be more populated now, this area, because it is quite near to the center, has converted into a business area more. So a few buildings which used to be for people are now for offices and companies. In the last few years, the demographic balance has dropped, and the percentage of recent immigration has caused little changes. Okay, so here again, they have lots of activities in the pre-primary school, psychomotricity to promote self-consciousness and psychological, emotional and motor development through the pleasure of reacting, playing and transforming the environment and various materials. In the primary school, they do have 2 hours of physical education because the school decided to add these 2 hours, which are not part of the general curricula for primary school. And here we have Patrizia, who teaches in the primary school. As all the other secondary schools, there are 2 hours for physical education per week with a trained teacher. So again, the school has quite good structures. They have good gyms and outdoor areas. And they also take advantages of all the opportunities the city offers with projects, and in particular, Joy of Moving is one of the many projects they adopted. But they also have weaknesses and problems. Again, they claim for a trained physical teacher in the primary school. They would like to have somebody who could support the teachers in doing these activities. They would like to increase the sports equipment, and not all the buildings part of the school have good do good activities. It's quite in the center of the city, so gardens and green areas are not so large as they like to have. And this is quite the whole thing. We prepare just in order to answer your questions, but we are ready to any other questions to answer, and we're very much looking forward to visiting your schools tomorrow on the spot, the things you showed before. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I know that over time we'll have certainly have some further questions and answers going on between us, but just in the interest of time.